All right, hey my friend, it's Doug with Careers and Nonprofits and the Staffing Accelerator Group. Thanks for checking out the video and checking out this page. If you clicked on this link, my guess is that you could use a little bit of a pep talk today. It's Friday, March 20th, 2020, and all of us are submerged in the coronavirus itself, more than likely, and definitely the coronavirus news and all the changes and all the uncertainties that have come along with it in the last, couple months, really globally. So first and foremost, of course, it goes without saying that our hearts and prayers go out to everyone who's being directly impacted by the virus or who has suffered a loss because of it. Our hearts really do go out to you, pour out to you, and we hope that you find peace and understanding and a way forward as time goes on. So for the rest of us, and the overwhelming majority of us, I'm guessing that you're like me. You're at home, you're teleworking, you're adjusting and adapting to your clients' needs, your recruiters' needs, the recruiting needs. And, some things are the same, but obviously some things are very different. And each day can present, a new level of challenges. So, like I said, it's Friday, the 20th, 2020. I know last week at this time, we had just sent home our entire staff in 3 cities for the first time ever, because of the news. We got people in San Francisco, people in Chicago, and people in Washington, D.C. And just with the news here in the States, it was prudent to get everybody teleworking, even though that's not our culture. Since then, we've had days where, we've had several recruiters in tears, because they've had to lay off and let go of some of the temporary staff whose assignments ended, because there's just so much uncertainty or because the projects that they were supporting aren't continuing right now with everything going on with the coronavirus. Maybe some of you had days like I had a couple days ago where, you're not really planning to do a whole lot because you're reacting to things, but as things roll in throughout the day, you just get one set of bad news after another. Maybe one of your candidates has tested positive and it's caused a ripple effect with a client, or vice versa. One of the client's employees has tested positive. Maybe someone was in your office that has tested positive and it's sent everybody home and it's sent a scare through everyone. And so I know that, like a lot of us, like most of us, I've had those days here, even in the last week, where things tend to stack up. And I know if you're not doing something proactive to manage that stack or to manage your self-care to remain positive, it's easy to get pushed down into a rut, right? It's easy to find yourself being frustrated, being irritated, maybe even a little scared, maybe being on pause a little bit and just wanting to check out. Let's face it, it's easier to binge watch Netflix than to dive into problem solving, all these new issues that come up. But like you, like me, that's not you, that's not me. We're here to serve. I really believe that for those of us that are healthy and not directly impacted, by the sickness or by a loss or something like that this is a time of great need and a time to step up and to serve, and to help be part of the solution, and to be fully present and help in our little universe of recruiting or whatever it is that you do, to help move everybody past this. And the only way you're going to do that is if you remain positive. Not all the time, but more often than not, you need to find a way to ground yourself and come back to balance, come back to some sense of positive attitude, positive mental attitude, so that you can act and actually make decisions that are going to be meaningful and the right ones and that will serve others. All right. So that's the lead up. I wanted to just share 4 quick points and then let you be on your way, because after all, it is Friday and we all have things to do. All right. So in my world, the first thing that you can do to really stay positive or try to stay positive is to limit your news intake. Okay. Now, I know it's difficult, and I know that, this is a time where we all want to be highly informed and we all want to know what's going on. And sometimes watching the news or consuming news, reading articles is a way to stay connected to what's happening. But you have to know that there's a limit to that. And really the most important news are the facts that are going to help you make decisions for yourself, for your candidates, for your clients, for your family, for the people in your immediate area. I think there's a value in having a general awareness of what's happening on a larger level, obviously nationally, even globally, but it does no good to immerse yourself in that or to follow all the bad news all the way around the world every step of the way, because what can happen? right? If you just watch that bad news, you can very easily find yourself, in a sense of fear, a sense of anxiety. It felt intensely enough that could even lead to panic, and nobody acts rationally or makes great decisions in any of those states, okay? So I'm probably preaching to the choir. You got to limit your news intake and really just focus on the news that matters and the news that's going to help you make good decisions for the people that you serve and the people that you are attempting to help and add value to. Okay, so my personal preference is to maybe get about 5 minutes of news a day, proactively go look at the news. I have a couple of metrics that I'm following, and if the president is speaking or anybody who is in our national stage making decisions in terms of public health or public policy, I'll check in on those press conferences and listen to what the decision makers are saying. And then there's a couple of charts that I'm following as far as indicators. That's the only news that I'm going out and consuming. I have I know where these sources are at, so it's about 5 minutes a day, maybe 5 minutes in the morning. I might check it at night to see if anything changed, but just to keep myself generally aware and plugged into what's happening day to day. Trust me, most of us are getting a lot of word of mouth news through social media, through your coworkers, through email and everything else. And there's going to be plenty of other news that comes in, but you don't want to just get sucked into the media and go from headline to headline or click to click if you can help it. So limit that news intake and really just be vigilant with your mental space, okay, and your mental chatter. All right. The next thing you want to do is observe and act on the news as it's coming in. Okay, and what do I mean by that? So the other day, we got news that one of our candidates tested positive for the coronavirus, and that caused a cascade of things that we had to do that we haven't done before. Notify the client, they had to notify their employees. Turns out the person had been in our office in the last couple of weeks. We had to notify those employees, and it caused a whole series of chain reaction communications and conversations that we weren't planning for. Within a couple hours later, we found out that our internal server, there was a cyber attack. Not the end of the world, not the biggest thing that we had to deal with, but it was important. We had one person, in a physical office that was trying to access files. That's how we found out about it, but that wasn't the greatest news. We had to figure out how to deal with this cyber attack. And it was just one thing after another that came in that day. And there was about 8 or 9 of those things that came in. And so that kind of news, I figured, is that you want to observe as it's coming in, especially if you're in a leadership capacity or, all recruiters are leading in some way. You're leading your candidates, you're leading your clients through a process. And as you get news about what's going on, the updates, to keep things moving forward or to cancel things or to put things on hold, you need to observe that kind of news and act on it. Not overreact, not underreact. And what I'm talking about is you need to hold yourself in balance and not get on an emotional roller coaster about it. Because what's needed now is grounded, level-headed decision making, grounded, level-headed communication, and grounded, level-headed action. And so just by acting on the news, observing on it, okay, here's the situation, let me act on it accordingly, there is a way forward, acting on it is going to bring a sense of control. First of all, it's what's needed, right? It's definitely what's needed when situations come up, but it's also going to help you feel better and remain positive as you make progress through the issue. A lot of times, happiness isn't always in obtaining a result, but it's in progress towards the achievement of the result. So as you're moving forward to solve problems just by acting on them and not hiding from them or shrinking from them in the moment, you're going to feel better. And there's a certain amount of positive energy that comes with that. All right? I hope that makes sense. Give it a try. So make sure you're observing the news or the things that come in, the situations and the scenarios that come in, and acting on them appropriately, doing what's right. It'll make you feel better that you're taking action and not shrinking in the moment by overreacting or underreacting. All right? Good to go? All right, number 3 is that you should do this. I love this idea. I can't take full credit from it. I heard someone in our company recommend this, and it's basically decide how you will emerge from this. So we all know, especially the people in my world, and if you're like me, you're probably already self-contained and practicing social distancing, and your family is put away, and most people are in place, where you're going to be for the next couple of weeks or months or however long this takes. And so with this extra time, this is a great opportunity to decide how you're going to emerge. Everybody believes that this too shall pass. and there's some effects from it, but things are changing. But there will be another day. There is another season. This coronavirus will be defeated at some point, hopefully, God willing, in the future. And so it would be a very positive action on your part, and very empowering, by the way, as well, to decide how you're going to emerge. I've heard everything from I'm going to emerge 5 pounds lighter. I've heard recruiters say I'm going to emerge with 2 new clients. I've heard recruiters say I'm going to emerge with X number of placements. There's all kinds of good things. I've heard recruiters say I'm going to emerge with these new skills, it's just a great time to make some goals and set some goals that are going to help you progress, and continue to improve yourself despite the uncertainty, despite all the bad news, and despite all the changes that are happening. So taking proactive action, making an intention that's positive, and deciding how you're going to emerge is kind of claiming that identity in advance. All right, very positive action. I hope that makes sense for you. All right. And the last thing that you can do is just work hard on your own emotional state to find appreciation eventually, and even though there's lots of bad news and it's scary, and the numbers for people that are testing positive for coronavirus is growing. The number of people that are passing away, is growing. And but you have to find appreciation for the situation at some point. There's other things that are happening that can be positive, and you want to be able to find appreciation for that stuff once your health and your primary safety concerns are covered. So if you're like the majority of people that I know, they're not necessarily concerned about their primary safety anymore, or the safety of their family members, and so there's an opportunity there to find things to appreciate. In my team, we're finding that, we are proving that we can still deliver a high value recruiting service from home. That's not our culture. We're not recruiters that work from home. We have physical offices. We do a lot of things, online, but also in person. But we're proving that we have the ability and the maturity to still stay highly connected and to serve, in a telework model. And that's great. There's other things that we can appreciate. I'm a parent and I've got small kids and their schools are closed for the next month, and I'm appreciating the ability to have an extended spring break with them and to let them see how my wife and I operate, in business at home during crisis. It's not something I want to show them, but it's an opportunity to be a better parent and to spend more time with them, but also show them, a little bit more of the world that they might not get in school at this time, had they not been exposed to us. There's all kinds of things that you can also do. There's all kinds of, you can get into music. I was taking a walk outside yesterday. The weather is starting to turn here in Virginia. And yesterday was kind of like a spring day. And if you went outside, even just to take a brief walk, you felt the sun on your skin. Great to appreciate that. Birds were chirping, and I had music going through my ears, and it was a very recharging moment. And so finding things to appreciate or ways to appreciate are going to help your mood. And you need to find those things that are going to work for you and continue to plug into them as frequently as you're plugging into the office, plugging into the work, diving into the situations, diving into the problems, and trying to work them out. Pay attention to your self-care. Find things that are going to make you feel good, bring you peace, bring you appreciation. And at the end of every day, that would be the last recommendation with this step, is that try and go through, a mental folder, a mental file of things that you can appreciate. Like, hey, even though we got a cyber attack done, the good news is that most everybody's working from home and not accessing those files anyway. And this is the perfect time to have a cyber hack, because we're not using those files and everybody's home already and the business is continuing for the most part. There's something I can appreciate about that. And then also that we got exposed, so now we know how to strengthen ourselves for when we come back and prevent those kinds of things from happening again. So at the end of every day, it's very good to, if you're observing and acting on the news, finding things to appreciate along the way. At the end of the day, finding the positive lining or the positive things that you've done and feeling good about taking charge in this moment when uncertainty is incredibly high. All right, my friends, that's my time. I hope this helps. I hope it serves. Give me some comments. Good luck out there, and I'll see you in the next video.